Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of our FogCutter Live. I'm Mike Curtis, here with Preston James, founder of Traders Edge Network. And P, we're coming off kind of a flat week. We got a lot to talk about. So say hello, we'll dive in and get this one going.
Absolutely. Yeah, you might notice I've got the coach hat on. I've got a whistle. That's kind of, we'll explain that too in a bit also. But I told my staff here, would you remind me if I leave the building, if I'm wearing a whistle and this hat, just to ditch it? And so I can
People
look
give you
normal.
some looks in the parking lot.
Right. Yeah. Or anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so we got some fun things to talk about. It's kind of a heavy week for some retail companies, right? So we'll talk about that. Let's review first. Let's kick things off just talking about last week. So we climbed a little bit, but a little more of just kind of a holding pattern for the markets, P. We've talked these last couple of weeks how we've just covered so much ground. We're extended. It wouldn't surprise us to see a little bit of a cooling off. And just to remind the folks, after a strong move, there's a few ways that the market can regain some balance, right? It can either pull back, we can see some profit taking. Sometimes it just kind of goes into a holding pattern, a consolidation period is what we'll call that, is, where it just kind of trades in a range. So what are you seeing from last week, Preston? Any
Well,
thoughts or insights?
yeah, going along with that, Mike, I mean, yeah, if it does consolidate or slow down, there's pieces underneath the water. I mean, the duck's going across, but what could be happening underneath is, we've talked about this, is some sector rotation. I mean, we've had certain sectors, Nvidia, for example, and that brings dozens of stocks along with it, but it basically doubled in value. A lot of other companies, not a lot, but companies in that realm and ilk are close to doubles from the April lows. And so that's just kind of too hot to sustain. So we're seeing sector rotation. Other sectors that really got out of favor, and we saw it after the close on Thursday, the news that was reported, there were some 13F filings. That just means if you're a
Right.
big time investor, the market makes you file these things. If you're buying enough shares, they want to make it public to everyone. But
Mm-hmm.
Warren Buffett came in, made an initial 7 million share buy on United Health, UNH.
Right.
It spiked it on Friday. It's continuing into today, but that's part of the sector rotation, where basically the world's most successful investor over the last 60 years is unleashing a beginning trade on it, a beginning position,
Yeah.
7 million shares.
And you did some math on that about how big of the investment was that?
It's
Like
in the
dollars and
billions.
cents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just a
mean,
huge investment. I think it makes a lot of investors think, "Oh yeah, this company is a staple. It's not going anywhere." It makes sense. He's coming in and buying at these levels, right?
yeah, he does. He's got kind of a knack for it, I think you could say.
Yeah,
Um, it-
definitely.
yeah. The other thing, he bought two home builders, Mike. I think this is interesting. He started, not added to positions, but started new
New.
positions. One on DR Horton, DHI, and then one on Lennar Homes, Ellie, and I believe. Well, what's
Mm-hmm.
interesting is Toll Brothers home builders. They announced earnings after Tuesday's close. So tomorrow after the close, and these are the big names in home building. And he didn't buy one on there, but I would imagine that now people are extra interested in what Toll Brothers might announce. And we mentioned all three of these because they all have weekly options, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yeah, good
if we
ones to watch.
if we just remain curious and ask questions and just observe and try not to force new trades, if you just sit back and be curious, there's plenty of opportunity that comes around the pike. You'd have to agree with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and kind of to swerve off of that conversation and build off of it, I should say, one of our favorite setups, Preston, just to go along with some of the sector rotation and money kind of finding opportunities. We have a setup that you taught me just, 16 years ago, is that sunrise after the demise. So a
Mhm.
stock that's really been beat down, gaps down, usually trading at or near or at a new 52-week low. So it's just people have flooded to the exits. They've dumped the stock. And a lot of times it can be an overreaction, right? So the
Yeah.
big institutions that want to get out are now out. Kind of that United Health, but I know Novo Nordisk is one you've got your eyes on. Fortinet is another. So maybe we could flash on the screen. Yeah, this is the perfect example. So see the gap down is a big piece of this. So not just a big candle where it's just had a horrible sell-off day,
Mhm.
but where that pre-market or after hours selling has just caused the price to really gap down like this. And it's just kind of that final knockout punch for a second, right?
Yeah, there's no good news about it. I mean, in the textbook ones, they've been going down for months. I mean, there's really a lot of emotion on when a stock does a demise. The demise is that day, like you said, Mike. It's a gap. It has to be a gap down. It's a 52-week low, and I always like to say, you look down at the volume bar, and I like to
Right.
see it look like a redwood tree compared to shrubs. And you're right, it's a very unique psychology for this setup where, and there's no opportunity on the demise day. We simply sit
Right.
up in our chair and notice, wow, it happened. And then the
Mm-hmm.
sunrise part is if and only the stock can start trading above the high of the demise day. And
Right.
because sometimes stocks will demise, and sometimes they, and this is rare, but sometimes they never come back.
Yep.
um, but yeah, I love it so much. I know it's Stella's number one. It's her favorite setup, and she's one of our mentors here, and she's been a trader for 30 plus years. But when she came across the sunrise demise, she goes, "Oh my gosh!" Because it can be so textbook. If we wait, you have to be patient. But one thing on Novo Nordisk NVO, as I'm noticing, is it's a few pennies away from
Right.
sunrise. And the opportunity, the edge, of course, is that once it does sunrise, that it's beginning a climb out. And boy, do we have a strategy earmarked for a sunrise demise. What do you think that is, Mike?
Yeah, our money press is
Oh
just
my gosh.
beautiful
Yes.
for it. Yeah, the money press, because if it is a choppier climb, right? A lot of times these don't just springboard right back and close that gap, but there's kind of the opportunity where people start seeing some value buys, and it can start to maybe build a new base, and it can just be a really beautiful stretch of price action for that money press strategy where we love just kind of that steady uptrending or even sideways moving stock. The money press can just spit out some really fun gains on that.
Right, and it's usually not a cakewalk out of, because that's there's some real pain. It's really upset a lot of investors to get to the point of a demise. And
Right.
so there's a lot of people just waiting. If it demised at 45 and they bought at 80, and they saw all their experiences, they've had their investment chopped in half. And probably when it demised, they just said, or anyway, a lot of people just gave up on it. But if
Right.
someone didn't and they bought at 80, what are they waiting for? They're waiting for someday when that can get back to 80. No one wants to lose money. So there's a lot of resistance along that climb back out, but
Right.
we don't mind the money press, which why it says that to be such a perfect strategy, because we don't want a bottle rocket move. We want something going sideways to higher. Um, it should be illegal to do some of this. Some of them are so easy, And anyway, it's just fun being patient. It's fun being curious. It's fun waiting for these things to unfold. And Mike, another little comment I'll make. It's crowd behavior that sets some of these things up. A lot of things up, actually. Where I just imagine if you're like upset or pissed off, and you can only do being by yourself. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but if you're involved with a group of people, you can tip over a bus. You could wake up the next morning like, oh my gosh, did we really do that? Maybe we overreacted. I mean, human beings overreact. And when human beings act in mass, they can really just maybe overdo it. And
Right.
we're basically taking advantage of something that's been overdone, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, that's really good insight. So, as far as kind of looking into this week, Preston, I know like we mentioned, there's a few more earnings we want to look at. So I know as
Yeah.
far as on the retail front, Home Depot, Lowe's, I believe it's Target and Walmart as well are the other big ones. Ross
Target,
stores.
Walmart. I would throw TJ Maxx in there.
Oh, yep, TJ
They're
Maxx.
one of their best run retailers. Ross stores as well. They're all this week, Mike.
Yeah, so lots, and of course, retail spending is kind of a clue to the health of the economy, right? Consumer spending drives so much of the economy, so those can be looked at as a little bit of a gauge to how just the strength of the economy is doing, the strength of consumer spending is doing. So anything
Exactly. And
else on
I'll
that
add
front you'd
their
want?
guidance too going forward. I mean, when a
Exactly.
Walmart comes to the podium and talks about what they see going forward, the other retailers, it's probably they're probably listening too on what a Walmart says going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to keep an eye on this week is Jackson Hole Symposium. I know the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is set to speak. And I believe, Preston, that's later this week, so the 21st.
It's in the state that we call Utah's hat. Well, some people do. I do. It's Idaho. I mean, they're all getting together in Sun Valley. The private jet scene up there is supposed to be insane. This is where all the billionaires, the Fed chairman, anyone who's anyone. I mean, Buffett's attended it. I don't know if he'll be at this one, but Bill Gates. I mean, they're all there putting their thinking caps on, and even like the Oprahs, and they're all there mingling and talking, and it's Thursday to Saturday. It's this week.
Yep. So that's, of course, could give us a little more insight onto any rate cut expectations. I know the futures markets that are, kind of predict the likelihood of a rate cut for that September meeting. They've been bouncing around 90%, 92%, 85%. So all to say, there's a pretty strong likelihood the market is pricing in at least a 0.25, so a quarter of a percent rate cut, which of course is great news for the market. But a lot of that could be really priced in already, and they could just be looking for any insight onto future policy.
Can I add something kind of fun to this too? All that's I just barely remember this a year talking, Mike, but we hired some audio visual crew back in the day for Trader's Edge, and but they do the audio visual for this conference every year.
Uh,
And I'm like, well, what's that like? This guy's just blown away. He goes, and you wouldn't know this if you weren't there, but apparently the tradition there, and if you're new and you don't know this, you're even if you're a billionaire, if anyone's walking around in a tie, they go around with scissors and cut it off. That's so. If you're a new billionaire, like, hey, I'm gonna fly in, I'm gonna do my thing, and you've got like a $2,000 tie from somewhere in France, off it comes. So it's a small
That's
little
funny.
detail there. Yeah, just to set. They're not rolling in suits up there. That's part of their gig.
That's fun.
So anyway,
Good story. So, yeah, Preston, I think as far as this week, are you taking any sort of approach? Is it just kind of business as usual? Where's kind of your brain at as you attack this fresh week here?
yeah, I mean, it's way less on earnings, but you speaking again about Home Depot and Lowe's, I mean, what they say about housing, or about their guidance, will speak a lot about. I mean, this is an important week for earnings, even though it's a smaller number of companies. So,
Yeah, definitely.
but the big thing I'm excited about this week is we're doing the SOB training camp, hence the coach
That
had and the whistle get up. I am going to use the whistle. I don't know how crass that'll be on a microphone going over a webinar, but I guess the audience is going to going to find out. But do you want to tell them
get the
about
full
that?
experience. Yeah, we just have a ton of fun. So Preston played football growing up, was a walk-on linebacker in college, ended up earning a scholarship. I played, my boys played, Preston, your son played. Preston, even though he lives in Utah, is a Cowboys season ticket holder. We're football's near to our hearts. I was coaching my son's game on Saturday. So in the spirit of the NFL season kicking off and training camps and college football right around the corner, we do our SOB training camp. SOB standing for Sleep Over Bandit, which is one of our trading strategies. It's a strategy you build on Thursday into expiration Friday. So you can go to sleep Thursday you wake up Friday and you can see some profits already building in your account. It's a very short, practically just a 1 day trade, but it's not day trading because we're going from one day into the next. And so we're kicking that off. It starts tomorrow, August 19th. And we do Tuesday, Thursday. Thursday is our live trading. And then next week, also Tuesday, Thursday. So we built these webinars to be in the spirit of these training camps. But the sleepover bandit strategy is just amazing. We kicked it off last week, Preston. And for those that jumped on it quickly, you said, hey, I'll share a couple of my trades from this week.
Yeah,
And we had some amazing, we haven't even started camp, but we sent out a playbook, if you will. And people jumped on these. And so you can see on the screen here, people have already paid for the SOB training camp tuition, and it hasn't even begun. We've just had the feedback, these stories, the results were pouring in over our team hub. And it was just so much fun to see these pour in Friday and Saturday and Sunday, seeing people paying for this training camp. So it's not too late. You can see Ronald, $930 in profits. Edmund down there took the 3 trades, paid for the course and more. Robert, I guess I'm going kind of backwards. I don't know why I'm doing that. But, well, here we are close to the end of our first SOB trading week. About an hour to go, I can safely say, way to go, Preston. It's always fun to kick things off by having the total camp paid for in advance. Michael C., not me, Michael C., but another Michael C. with a great name, said, paid for the SOB camp out of my brokerage account. Has already been paid for. So excited. So really fun. Again, we're going to cover all this strategy in depth. We're going to do some live trading to really kick it off. So the 19th, we kick off camp. The 21st is live trading. And then again, next week. So that would be the 26th. And then the 28th is our 4 webinars for this SOB training camp with 2 live trading days. It's just a ton of fun. People love it. It's a strategy we try to arm you with so you can trade it all year long when you're not in training camp with Coach Preston and the whistle.
Yeah, well say about this. It was so fun. The 3 trades were on Adobe, Spotify, and Meta. And going back to your point, Mike, how you mentioned, it is a day trade. It's overnight, but it's not day trading. Just to explain that a little bit, we're not going around, sticking our finger up and wondering if we can buy something that will go up, the next day. It's basically we're doing a strategy on stocks because they exist, and barring a complete catastrophe, and we have measures to protect that, we're just basically looking to get it from Thursday into Friday and participating in the massive time decay that comes out of these stocks. It's like a balloon that exists and is just rapidly going down. And for some reason, it does it the most over the Thursday heading into the Friday expiration of options. And it used to be it's always been an opportunity, but for the longest time, options just expired once a month. So you have to sit around and wait for it to do, and that's kind of no fun. But as soon as the weeklies came out, Mike, I tracked down this one author that wrote this book all about time decay and options. I'm like, hey, now that there's weekly options, is this an opportunity every Thursday now?
Right.
And he basically said yes. I'm like, okay, so
let's build a strategy.
This was, and so we've only done this for the SOB training camp for, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. We've done the SAMs for 13, 14 years, but we're having a freaking ball with this, and we're just excited to go. And I dress up as coach.
That's right.
Yeah, we're not going to do any locker room talk like the coach actually does. I don't know if you guys know that you have to play sports to know that it's really different when the doors are closed. So we keep it all below PG. Well, I'd say well below PG-13, but definitely PG. But it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it's a blast. So if anyone wants to check out more information about that, there's the URL. It's SOB. Again, that's Sleep Over Bandit, SOBtrainingcamp.com. You can check out some more there. If you don't want to miss out on the fun, get registered for that. Again, we kick off tomorrow. Every webinar is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, 2 p.m. Eastern. So 11 a.m. for the Pacific time zoners. And we do that for a specific reason. That's the kind of that prime time to build those trades on Thursdays.
Mhm.
So again, starts tomorrow. It kicks off Tuesday, the 19th. And come join us if you want to learn a new fun, lucrative strategy.
Yeah, this is probably the only training where on the Thursday when I do trade, we'll get together on Thursday. We'll probably trade first and then answer the questions why we did what we did. So it's
Right.
shoot first, learn later.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's a ton of fun. People just love it. We've had great feedback these last few years. So, on that note, Preston, I think we can wrap this one up. Anything else before we sign off from you?
Uh, Man, I think we covered some good stuff, Mike. No, I've just these are just fun to do. It's good to you're coming in. You'd mentioned we both have hats on. You're coming in from Southern California,
Yep.
surfing with some buddies, and
Yep. Just came off the water, was able to throw on the hat just in time to get in front of
me
the
and Kyle were
computer here.
talking before. We're like, oh, I mean, is there anything crazier to be in the ocean surfing? Like, hey, I've got a webinar to go to, and anyway, but
Yep. The
thanks
buddies
for
stayed out a little longer.
right.
So yeah, good times. That's the life of the trader, right? I checked the markets a little bit before, was able to go jump in the water, can come back, check it. Feel like I need a breakfast burrito or something in true
Yeah,
SoCal style and
you got to remember the
recover
inlet
from the
closed
couple
at
hours of surfing.
the
Yeah,
1 o'clock close. So as your lunch is nearing its end, so is the market. So
so, all right, Preston. Well, thanks so much.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you,
Hopefully,
Mike.
hopefully we armed everyone with some good info, some insights to help cut through the fog of all the noise out there and the chaos of the market. So they're in a little better situation
And
to attack the
including
week.
what you hear from your friends. That's fog too, right? Even successful friends that mean well. And we just say that because the
Absolutely.
stock market cycle is different than the business cycle. And they could take a look at NVO and say, yuck. And you could look at it and say, this is what I've been waiting for. So
Definitely.
sorry to interrupt you on that, but sometimes the fog comes from the ones that are closest to you.
Absolutely. No, good point. So I think that's a good one to leave everyone off with. So thanks again, Preston. Until next week, we'll see
All
everyone.
right.
Take
We'll see
care.
you tomorrow, Mike, on the SOB training.
We'll see it. We'll kick it off. Can't
Take care,
wait.
everyone.
See ya.